More and more homeowners today are deciding to remodel their homes instead of relocate. They're redesigning their homes to better fit their lifestyles and to make them more energy efficient. Today we're going to discover some great new green retrofit ideas that you can use at your home. And we're going to meet some of today's leading industry professionals in the green building movement. So don't go away because it's all coming up next. At the International Builders Show in Las Vegas, I had the opportunity to tour this year's revision project. A team of green builders, designers, and manufacturers preserved the integrity of the existing structure while bringing it to a net zero energy use. After I returned from Vegas, I couldn't quit thinking about this project. You know, it has to be one of the best green retros ever done. And just the fact that it is a remodel is one of its greenest aspects. Does this style of house look familiar? Well, I'm not surprised. Between 1947 and 1974, this style of house was being built by Joe Eichler. Now, he was a tract builder, and he developed this mid-century modern look. Lots of builders across the country were influenced by his style and built hundreds of these homes. Now, today's homeowners, they're looking for style, they're looking for design, and they're looking for energy efficiency. In most cities, a house like this, well, it would be torn down to make way for a newer, greener home. But what if I told you a house like this could become a green retrofit? It's a great process. A team leader on this project was Ron Jones, an internationally renowned pioneer in the green building movement. He is an award-winning builder, architectural designer, and the only person ever to serve on the National Board of Directors for both the U.S. Green Building Council and the National Association of Home Builders. And Ron is here today as my special guest and as our tour guide through the revision project. Hey, Ron.
Hi, Vicki. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, this house is very similar to the houses that we worked with in Vegas.
It does remind me of the house, and there's so many of them around the country. They're really great. Unfortunately, the problem with them is they're not very energy efficient.
Okay,
and so,
what makes them such bad energy examples?
Well, you have to remember at the time when they were built, we didn't have a lot of the technologies and products that we have today, but we also had very, very cheap energy. And so it wasn't really something that was designed for. So they have probably too much window in them in most cases.
Which is what made them so popular.
Yeah, exactly, that indoor-outdoor connection. But the problem was that the glazing technologies, that is, the kinds of windows and patio doors that were available, were not very energy efficient at that time. Insulation was used marginally, and in fact, we found areas of the Las Vegas project that had no insulation at all in them.
Wow.
And then the other thing is that the mechanical systems themselves were not very advanced at that point, and so air conditioning was not very efficient, and it took tons and tons of air conditioning to do what is actually a pretty modest-sized project at about 1,800 square feet.
Now, Ron, why did you decide to use two different types of foams on the outside of the house?
Well, they have different performance features, and they're different cost points.
Okay.
And so that's important. We wanted to make sure we were simulating a project where a customer might be making determinations based on
what
some dollars.
Can afford, exactly.
So what we have here are samples of the two types. These are both from BASF. This is called Intertype. Now this is, go ahead and squeeze that. You can see that that's kind of
real soft. It's
that's
spongy.
the open cell.
Okay.
That allows for airflow to pass through.
Okay.
So it's not a good air barrier. But because we use that in the walls, and we were going to do a house wrap around the finished product anyway,
this was what we
it
wanted.
worked perfectly.
But it sealed up all the gaps around everything, so it performed that purpose.
It does a great job, and it flows in behind where you have cavities where there's electrical wires or anything of that nature. The closed cell foam we used in the roof, and we wanted a higher R value, which it has. It's more expensive, but it's a more finite area, so we were able to put that in. Again,
and it's harder though.
Yes, it is. It's more rigid, and it's almost it's about 75% more R value than the open cell. But in this case, we weren't going to be using a house wrap over the top. We're of course putting a roof system over the top of it, but this allowed us to maximize not only the air sealing, but the R value that we were getting.
Okay. All right, so what kind of mechanical changes did you make?
We were able to put in a hybrid system, an electric-based system that allows us to cool and heat from the same source, and we reduced the air conditioning load from about 8 tons of air conditioning on an 1,800 square foot house to about 3 tons of air conditioning. And that is huge.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, of course, we were able to use some renewables with photovoltaic to create electricity, and also our solar hot water system that allowed us to preheat water that comes into the house. So that further reduced the energy load.
And this project, I was really surprised. I know you had a lot of participants, so it's hard to put a real dollar and cents on it, but I was really surprised that you were able to do this project as affordably as you did.
Well, I think what it really demonstrates is that the value that we find in the 120 or so million existing homes in this country has to really be looked at before you decide to tear one down.
Yes.
And if you're going to do a retrofit, if you're going to do a remodel, first of all, think of looking at the space that you have and how would you reconfigure that space? How would you refine that space, make it more comfortable and more livable, instead of just where can I add another room?
You know, this is what I try to tell, my viewers all the time. Take the labels off those rooms. How does your family live and function within that environment? If you're not a person who does formal entertaining and you don't need the dining room, but you're dying for a home office, or, instead of building on another bedroom for one of your children, think about revamping some space. I mean, there are lots of ways to use your space more wisely.
And the mid-century modern is perfect for that because of the open floor plan and the flow that it has.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look inside. I know you can't wait to see this gym, right?
Yes.
Oh, Ron, this place is a real beauty in here, isn't it?
It sure is.
Now,
it's fun.
Is this really typical to what you would find in a modern contemporary home like this?
It's amazing. There are houses, thousands of them like this all across the country from coast to coast. And I think that one of the things that we find that these houses are still popular today, they're still relevant. The things that made them attractive to homeowners and to live in at that time are still the reasons that people like them today.
Now, the lighting, you made a lot of changes in the lighting to bring it first first of all, up to more usable lighting, but to save energy. What was the process there?
Well, absolutely. I don't think there's an element to enjoyment of interior space that's more important than lighting. And it's the quality of the lighting as well as the fact that there's an aesthetic element to the design of the lighting and the look of it and how it integrates.
Now, these houses already had recessed lighting in them, which is pretty advanced,
well,
right?
it was advanced for its time, but the problem is they were all energy sinks. There was no insulated material, and so what we had to do was upgrade that because the large lighting load did contribute to a really poor energy efficiency in that house, among other things.
Let's go through some of these ways that you can control lighting now, because
Sure.
I think these are fascinating.
Well, you know, it's really interesting because there are products right here where you could go into an existing house or an apartment even, and you could install in a very easy manner, you could install the particular switches that you wanted without having to change any of the wiring out, and in some cases they're completely wireless. But it
well, let's back up here
Sure.
just a second, all right, because I'm fascinated by this.
Okay.
I could go into my house and I could use the existing switch that's there, just take it off, and install this right in, with no other wiring changes.
Sure. Now,
And it would function.
if you're doing a deep energy retrofit like we did, then you have the opportunity to rewire and to create lighting scenarios and scenes and that sort of thing, and to integrate the entire system. But you can still do this on a room-by-room basis.
So whatever that switch originally operated, I'd be able to operate here. So
Yes.
let's go through what this does.
Well, you might be able to set the lighting mood for any particular scenario that you want. If you were entertaining for dinner, for example, and you wanted a little more subdued lighting, or if you have television viewing that you want to do, or if it's going to be more festive and bright, you want to have a party, whatever the case might be, or maybe you want to have really low light.
Are they hard to program?
No, not difficult at all.
Okay.
If you can push a button, you can do this.
But if I don't even want to wire it, I can go to a wireless system?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That'll just mount right on the wall. It's amazing.
Okay.
But then, perhaps best of all, this is a portable unit just like your TV remote, and this will control the whole house. So let's say that you've gotten into bed and you say, well, geez, I'm not sure that I turned off the back porch lights, or I'm not sure that the garage light is off. You can just hit the all off and make sure that everything's turned off. Or let's say that maybe you hear a sound that you're not comfortable with in the night. You could hit your pathway lighting or your outdoor lighting right from the comfort of your bed, and all the lights on the outdoors would come on.
You know, this is great, and this is a great product for seniors.
Oh, it's
amazing. With my parents, I would love for them to be able to do that and have that security. Let's take a look at the backyard. Okay, so the cement is definitely not our solution for this type of a setting, or pretty much any setting anymore. We want a surface that the water can drain through. In Las Vegas, I loved the paving material that you used on that project.
We were really excited to use brand new product. This is actually called Filter Pave, and the real magic here is in the binder that's made by BASF.
Okay.
And so it allows them to take, this is post-consumer recycled glass that you're holding here.
Okay.
Interestingly, it's tumbled so that it doesn't have a sharp edge.
So this could have been a bottle of Chardonnay the night before.
It could have been. In fact, it may be again someday too, but that's the nice part about it. When you take this out, it can be recycled again. But the binders are really the keys, because we have the recycled product, we just haven't been able to put it together in a way that's durable so that we can walk on it and play on it and drive on it.
Okay, so now this is glass, so you would think it's sharp, but it's not at all.
No, it's very comfortable, isn't it?
And so the water just runs straight through this.
It runs through this. It's amazing. It doesn't pool at all. It just drains right through. It goes to the layer that's underneath, so it soaks back into the ground, and it reduces that runoff that we were always concerned about when we have fertilizers and animal waste and so forth, and then automobiles dripping and that sort of thing. You know, there's another version of this too that uses chips of natural stone, and that's
Same
a flex.
binder.
Well, I think the chemistry is a little different, but it's also by BASF, and that's called Flex Pave, and that's a wonderful product as well. It looks very natural, almost looks like a slate.
That was beautiful, and that's what you did the driveway out of there,
I believe we actually used the filter pave there, but we did the back patios with the flex pave.
Okay, so you have a variety of materials, you have a variety of colors that you can use to accomplish the same goal, which is not to have the great runoff, but have it go right through the surface and back into the ground.
Exactly, and you know, it's not an all or nothing. The nice part is that you can blend this in with stone or with concrete or with vegetated areas or with artificial turf.
One last question, does it go down just like concrete?
It actually goes down very much the same. The same techniques are used to level it and so forth.
Okay, great. Well, this is a great product, and it's just one of many that they used at the revision house.
It's really a game changer, I think.
Now, the revision house wasn't all about the outside. Eco-designer Pat Gaylor made sure that everybody that toured that house knew that green doesn't stop at the front door. We're here at Design Center International to meet up with Pat to find out what you should think about when you're planning a green kitchen and some green interiors. Hi, Pat.
Hi, Vicki.
It's so good to see you.
You too. How are you?
Good. I haven't seen you since Las Vegas at the Revision House.
Oh, what a fun project that was.
It was. And I'm so glad that you and Ron could come and share this with my viewers today. I'm loving this kitchen.
This is really very special. And this is also a very green kitchen.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There are some elements in green that you don't see. It's the materials. It's the energy efficiency of the appliances. And it's also about what's in the materials that's going to make a difference in the air that's in the room itself.
Okay.
So it's all of those things together.
Well, now we have 3 different counters in here.
Right.
Okay. We have a wood surface, and I'm seeing people use more and more wood in kitchens. Tell me about that. How durable is this for a counter surface?
Well, they're very good. You want to mix like you did in this one, and as you can see, it all works really well together. This is a great space for serving things and putting things down, but for a prep area, especially when you're cooking or you're prepping food, you want to make sure that the surface is free of bacteria and is wipeable. This is a little bit more porous.
Okay.
So this is great to have as window dressing or as a little extra, but this is one of the reasons that I love this quartz product from DuPont.
Now tell me about quartz product.
It's a countertop material. And it looks like stone. I mean, that looks like marble. But it is not mined from the earth, which is what I like about it. You've seen those pictures of them taking slices.
Slabs.
This is made from quartz, which is a mineral. Quartz is a cluster material. They use it in clocks and, all sorts of things. And it's bound together, and it makes this really incredibly, this is actually stronger than a stone, than a granite material.
But it has a look of granite, depending upon which sample you choose. I mean, this looks very much like granite. But now, granite is something that has to be resealed all the time. Does this have to do that?
No sealing with this, which is one of the really great green things about it, is that there's no chemical sealing involved. So it is, when it goes into your home, it's pure and it's clean and it stays that way, and it also
no bacteria.
Doesn't harbor any bacteria.
And this is a great urban-looking kitchen that we have here. But what about my viewers who say, Vic, I'm not moving into that loft. I'm not that urban. I want a traditional kitchen, but I'd still like to be green. What can we do for that?
Well, green is not always just about modern, urban, or bamboo. It's also, you can go extremely traditional with green. And let me show you a kitchen that has all those green elements that's traditional.
Great. Lead the way. Okay, Pat, this is more like it. This is a traditional country farm kitchen look. I absolutely love this.
It's beautiful. And this is just as green as the kitchen that we just looked at. That was more urban and more modern.
It has some of the same aspects?
It has all of the same aspects. So it's not necessarily about the look, it's about what goes into it that makes it green.
Okay.
And we're talking about low VOC paints, we're talking about energy efficient appliances and the materials and what the boxes are made of on the cabinetry. So it's the same thing. In this particular kitchen, we have an added feature of having this beautiful recycled wood top, which was an old, I believe it was an old table at one point, and we put this in here. It sort of counteracts with the stone surface on the countertop.
So you can have a little bit of your natural stone and then mix it up with
Exactly.
other
You can
materials.
do whatever you want.
Okay.
Whatever you want in terms of green. It's all about making choices, making smart choices.
And having the right balance between them.
having the balance.
Okay, now in the revision house, we had some really different flooring stories going on there.
Right.
Because you used carpets, you used hardwoods, you used tiles.
Right.
Tell me about the green factors of those decisions.
Well, there are a lot of really great green things about the particular flooring that we used in the house. First of all, again, when we're talking about ceramic tile, we're talking about durability and endurance. It's not the kind of product that you're going to rip out in a couple of years. So this is a very long-lasting product. So that's green right there. They're manufacturing on this particular product. Now, a lot of manufacturers are using all of their waste clays and their waste waters and recycling back them into new tiles.
Okay.
So that saves them money as well. So,
Saves them money, passes on to consumers.
Exactly.
It's a whole good green story.
It's just kind of a different way of thinking about things.
Okay, now hardwood floors. I know that there's a lot of sustainable forestry programs that are going on. The floors that you used, were they solid hardwood?
They were hardwood. They were engineered hardwood. A regular hardwood floor is solid all the way through. The particular Mohawk floor that we used in the revision house has a plywood base to it, which is formaldehyde-free. And then a thinner panel of wood is adhered to that. It's just as long-lasting. You still can refinish it, but you save thousands of trees by using less wood. The engineered floor is very stable. There's no movement. It's pre-finished before you put it in the house.
All of that gassing.
It's done all of its It's done all of its off-gassing, so there's no smell or any odor. So
now you also mixed in carpeting in that.
Right.
And how is this a green product?
Well, carpeting can be very green. These two particular carpets, this particular one from Mohawk is made from recycled plastic bottles. Believe it or not, 100%.
So those water bottles that people are just pitching into their recycle bin could be on their floor.
They take the plastic, they chop it up, they spin it into new fiber, which is very durable, by the way, and it's very soft.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So that's one thing you can do. The other kind of product you can use is a carpet that's made from a corn-based fiber instead of petroleum.
Okay.
Reducing our amount of reliance on petroleum-based products is something that we want to do. We want to try to use products that are more renewable, that grow.
So we can plant more of it.
Plant more of it. You can't get any more oil. Once it's gone, it's gone.
So we have like a whole array here. We're not limited to, like a few years ago, green products were very narrow. Now they're mainstream.
These are
major manufacturers.
Right. These are available at home centers.
Okay.
You can get these. So they're the same price. They're great.
Okay, now you had some great furniture that was in that house, and I love the style and the design of it, but you were sharing with me earlier that this is the real green story, and that's the foam inside of it.
The foam inside.
How is that green?
Well, a regular foam is petroleum-based, which is, again, not a renewable product. So this has a soy content. This is made from, a part of this is made from soybeans, which grow, and it's made into a foam. And it's used in furniture, it's used in mattresses, all of your pillows. And so you're saving, I think, 50%, on energy savings just by using this product.
In the way that it's manufactured.
Right, in the way that it's manufactured.
And so the 20% reduction in petroleum in this product, that really adds up when you start counting. So Bio's got a great addition to the home furnishing industry.
It really does add up if you think about all the areas that you use it in.
That's another great concept. So, just like you and Ron have been sharing with us today, it's really about stopping, asking the questions.
Right.
And even though we're talking about the revision house, it's really more about revisioning the way you think.
Oh, yes, that's great. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Pat. This has been a great tour for myself and for my viewers, and it really has made me stop and think about some of the projects we have coming up this season.
Thank you.
I want to thank my guests today. I tell you, Ron and Pat are just so full of great information. They're the real pros of this green movement. And I hope that we've inspired you today to think about the ways that you could retrofit your own home and make it more energy efficient. Now, I hope you'll join me next time when we explore more ways that we can work together to improve our homes and our gardens.
If you would like additional information about today's guests or project ideas, please visit us on the web at foryourhome.com. We will do our best to help you out.